Right, my dear children. Now, in the earlier chapter, we discussed several MCQ questions related to the lesson. Now, it's time to discuss several essay type questions. So, you know that here you need to write down the answers, right? So, you have to write down the correct answers. What is called as life cycle? What is called as life cycle? So, you know that life cycle means different stages of life, right? Different stages of life of an organism, right? It is the way of passing different stages of life of an organism. So we can write the answer. It is the process that shows the stages of life in organisms. So it is the process that shows the stages of life in organisms. That is what you mean by life cycle in simple, right? Second one, write the 3 stages of life cycle of a cockroach. So you know that cockroach is an organism who is going through incomplete metamorphosis. So eggs, nymph, adult, then finally again the egg. So these are the 3 stages of the life cycle of a cockroach: egg, nymph and the adult, right? Egg, nymph and the adult, right? So these are the answers for the first 2 questions. Write 2 uses of studying life cycles of animals. 2 uses of studying life cycles of animals. Number 1, to control pests, right? To control pests. Number 2, right? To control disease vectors. Control disease vectors, right? So 2 uses of studying life cycles of animals. One is to control pests and the other to control disease vectors. Next one, write 3 animals that has identical stages of life cycles. So what do you mean by identical stages of life cycles? Identical means they do not go in different changes. Okay? They do not go in different changes. So if there are no any different changes, then my dear children, we can consider this thing as what? An organism that goes in normal life cycle. Okay, it do not show metamorphosis. So animals like man, rats, dogs and cats, these organisms or these animals, they do not go in and metamorphosis. They do not show any like significant changes within their life cycles, right? Like stages of life cycles. So if they do not show significant changes, right, then they are not showing any metamorphosis. So therefore they are having like identical stages of life cycles. Okay, right. Write the stages of a flowering plant. Stages of flowering plant, very simple my dear children. Seed, then the seedling, then the mature plant. Right? 3 stages: seed, seedling, mature plant. Okay, seed, seedling, and the mature plant. These are the 3 stages of a flowering plant, my dear children. Very simple. Next one, write 3 animals that has different stages of life cycles. So different stages means they carry or they undergo in metamorphosis. So you have to write down 3 animals that undergoes in metamorphosis. So frogs, butterfly, frog, butterfly, then cockroach, frog, butterfly, cockroach, grasshopper, fruit fly. These are the examples, right? So they are asking about 3, but I have wrote 5. All of these organisms, they undergo in different stages of life cycles. Okay, if they are showing different stages of life cycles, then my dear children, they show metamorphosis. So here you are asking to write down animals that show metamorphosis. So these are the animals that show metamorphosis. Okay, then define what is called as metamorphosis. So metamorphosis means if there are significant changes among the stages of life cycles, then my dear children, that organism has undergo in a metamorphosis process. So metamorphosis is changing or having different stages of life cycles with significant changes. Okay, having different stages of life cycles with significant changes. So that kind of a one is referred as a metamorphosis. Okay, so within these metamorphosis, in these stages, you can observe different morphological features. Okay, so we can write the answer. The process of having different stages of life cycle with different morphological features. So the process of having different stages of life cycle with different morphological features, right? So if a person or if a certain if a certain animal is going to go under metamorphosis, my dear children, then these organisms have different morphological features in each of their life cycle stages. Okay, so the process of having different stages of life cycle with different morphological features is called as the metamorphosis, right? This is a process that Most of the insects would go through. Then the next one. Write the two main types of metamorphosis. Two main types of metamorphosis. Number one, complete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis. Number two, incomplete metamorphosis. Incomplete metamorphosis. So metamorphosis means, my dear children, once again, the process of having different stages of life cycle with different morphological features. So there are two main types of metamorphosis. Number one is complete metamorphosis, and the second one incomplete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis, and the second one is incomplete metamorphosis. Right then. Write the type of metamorphosis shown by given animals. Frog. You know frog is going to go through complete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis. So, tadpole, eggs, adults. Right? Eggs are going to, right? Eggs are the first stage of life, then the tadpole, then the frog. Even though they have three stages of life cycles, these organisms, frogs, they undergo in complete metamorphosis. Complete metamorphosis. Right? Cockroach. Cockroach incomplete. Cockroach incomplete metamorphosis. We discussed several times this thing, right? Next one, butterfly. Once again, complete metamorphosis, as you can observe, 4 different stages. Right? Complete metamorphosis. Fruit fly. Fruit fly is also, right? Fruit fly is also undergoes in complete metamorphosis, my dear children. We discuss those things when we are discussing the life cycle of a fruit fly. Right? Complete metamorphosis. Next one, sandfly. So sandfly is an organism, right? Once again, who is going through the complete metamorphosis. Sandfly. Okay. Then finally, dragonfly. Dragonfly is an insect who undergoes in incomplete metamorphosis. Right? So dragonfly is an organism who once again undergoes in incomplete metamorphosis. So these are the metamorphoses carried out by each of these organisms. Frog, complete metamorphosis. Cockroach, incomplete metamorphosis. Butterfly, once again complete metamorphosis. Fruit fly, complete metamorphosis. Sandfly, complete metamorphosis, right? Then dragonfly, incomplete metamorphosis. Okay, so incomplete metamorphosis is shown only by cockroach and dragonfly, while the frog, butterfly and fruit fly and sandfly, these four shows the complete metamorphosis. Okay, right then. The next question. Write 5 organisms that do not show metamorphosis. 5 organisms that do not show metamorphosis means that when you check the life cycles of those organisms, they should not have any different morphological features. Their morphological features from one stage to another should be identical. So who are those organisms? In the earlier case also we wrote these things, right? Number 1, rat. Number 2, cat. Number 3, dog. Number 4, man. Number 5, birds. Number 6, fish. So these are organisms that do not show metamorphosis. Okay, these organisms do not show metamorphosis. Do not show metamorphosis means their life stages are identical. Okay, right. Okay, then the next question. Complete the given life cycle stages. So as you can see here, this is the life cycle of a butterfly. So there are 4 different stages in the life cycle of a butterfly. So we can write eggs. This is the starting, right? This is the starting stage of the life. Starting stage of the life. Then the eggs are getting hatched to create a larva. Larva is getting now converted into a pupa. Then the pupa is getting converted to a butterfly. Rather than mentioning butterfly, I'll mention as adult. Adult, right? So eggs, larva, pupa, then finally the adult. These are the 4 stages that we can observe in the life cycle of the butterfly. Okay, butterfly. Then the next question, question number 12. What is the special name given for the larval stage of butterfly? So as you know, larval stage of the butterfly is referred as, right, the caterpillar. So larval stage of the butterfly is referred as the caterpillar, my dear children. Right, so caterpillar. Right, few plants that affected by mealybug. So you know that mealybug is going to affect mainly for the fruit, right? So fleshy fruits like mango, chilies, then like banana, papaw, those plants are getting affected mainly by the mealybug. So we can write chilies, papaw, chilies, papaw, then mango. These are the plants that affected by the mealybug, my dear children. Right, the next question. Write 3 bad effects of applying agrochemicals to control pests. So, when adding agrochemicals to control pests, what are the bad defects that's going to happen? We have write down bad defects. right? Number one, water bodies are getting contaminated. Always try to keep your answers very simple, my dear children. Number one is water bodies are getting contaminated with chemicals. As the chemicals are washing off to the water bodies, definitely the water bodies are getting contaminated. So we can write number one, water bodies are contaminated. Right? Water bodies are contaminated. Number two. Second one, upon spreading agrochemicals to the environment, it kills favorable or useful organisms, right, for the plantation or for the soil. Mainly it kills organisms who fertile the soil, right? Organisms who fertile the soil, like, if you take what the organisms like small worms, right, and the earthworm, like those organisms are also getting affected by these chemicals. So organisms who are favorable, who are useful, who are going to fertile the soil will also die. So that's a unfavorable condition. So destroys useful organisms. Destroys useful organisms. Number three, because of destroying useful organisms to the environment, okay, the balance in the environment and the biodiversity is getting affected. Biodiversity of the environment is getting affected then. Okay, so we can write the number 3. Biodiversity is affected due to useful organisms. So due to destroying useful organisms, biodiversity is also affected. Next one. What is called as a vector? What is called as a vector? So vector is an organism who carries pathogens, right, from one organism to another. Pathogenic microorganisms or disease carrying microorganisms are carried by these vectors. Okay, so we can write the answer. Vectors carry disease carrying microorganisms from one organism to another. Right? So vectors carry disease carrying microorganisms from one organism to another. Right? These things are also called as pathogens. pathogens. So vectors are the ones who carry pathogenic microorganisms from one organism to another. Right then, write the vector of each given disease. So we have write down the vector of each given disease. Vector, okay, vector, the animal who is going to carry the disease or carry the pathogenic microorganism. Number 1, hydrophobia. Hydrophobia is also, that it's referred as the, especially among the dogs, this is much more popular, right? Hydrophobia. This is also called as rabies. Rabies. So mainly, not only dogs, mammals are the ones who are going to carry this hydrophobia. Mammals, right? Mammals like dog, cats, monkeys, mainly. So we can write as a common word, mammals. Mammals. Then malaria. Malaria, it's quite obvious. Mosquito is the organism or the animal that carries malaria. Leishmaniasis. So leishmaniasis is a disease which is carried out by a vector called sandfly. 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 So leishmaniasis is kind of a disease that occurs in our skin, at the top of our skin. It's like a wound. Sandfly is going to pierce our skin and insert their eggs. Then a new organism or a larva is created within our skin. Then that larva is going to use our tissues, body tissues and fluids and all the other things and create, or it's going to consume all the nutrition and to grow on the wound which is created by the larva. Then finally it's going to complete its life cycle and go away. But however, that wound is created within our body, especially within the animals like humans. This sandfly is going to lay eggs. Okay. So leishmaniasis can be observed more often, like in coastal areas, Mathura, right, Gaul and Hambantota areas. We can observe this leishmaniasis disease. Okay. Then the pityriasis, right? Pityriasis. It's a skin disease. So skin disease is mainly carried out from touchers, by one person to another. So there is no special vector here, but however, from one person to another, this is getting spreaded. So I'll mention this thing as by humans, right? By humans, these pityriasis conditions may travel from one person to another, especially from touchers, as these things are skin diseases. Okay. Next one, dengue. Once again, dengue is a disease which is created or which is spreaded by mosquitoes, right? So mosquito. Then the final one, dysentery. So dysentery is also a type of a disease which is created by houseflies, mainly because of contaminated and spoiled food, right? It's like a condition which is similar to the diarrhea. So housefly. Right, so these are the vectors of each given diseases, my dear children. Okay, right. Then the next one, what is called as a pathogen? What is called as a pathogen? So pathogen means a harmful microorganism, right? A harmful microorganism that spread diseases. Okay, harmful microorganism that spread diseases. That is what do you mean by, or that is what is called as a pathogen. So we can write harmful microorganisms that spreads diseases. So a pathogen means a harmful microorganism that spreads diseases. Okay, harmful microorganism that spreads diseases. That is what do you mean by a pathogen. Next one. What are the main types of pathogens in our environment? What are the main types of pathogens? So there are like three main types of pathogens, right? Three main types of pathogens that's going to spread diseases heavily. Number one, virus. Number two, bacteria. Virus, bacteria, and number three, protozoa. Right? Protozoa. Protozoa means unicellular microorganisms like amoeba. Right? So virus, bacteria, and protozoa are the main three types. Right? Those are the main three types of pathogens. Fungi is also correct, but up to a certain level only. However, these are the main organisms, right? Main pathogens in our environment. Okay. Right then, the next question. What is called as a sensitive stage of a life cycle? So, sensitive stage is the most threatened stage of the life cycle of an organism. Most threatened stage, right? Sensitive stage is the most threatened stage of the life cycle in an organism, right? So it is the most it is the most threatened stage of the life cycle of an organism. Right? It is the most threatened stage of the life cycle of an organism. The sensitive stage. Right? Sensitive stage. So this is the sensitive stage, my dear children. Right, my dear children. Then the next one. Mention the sensitive stage of given organisms. So you have to mention the sensitive stage of given organisms. Frog. For frogs, eggs and the tadpole stage. Right? Eggs and the tadpole stage is the most vulnerable. Right? Most vulnerable stage. Eggs and the tadpole stage. Then the mosquito. For a mosquito, we studied that larva stage is the most threatened or the most vulnerable stage. For butterfly, it's eggs, and also we can mention the caterpillar as well. Right? Most of the times it is the egg. Okay? Most of the times it is the egg. The most threatened part is the egg. Next on fish. Once again, eggs. Turtles, eggs, and young turtle. Right? Young turtle and eggs. Eggs is the most. Okay, eggs is the most. So these are the sensitive stages of different organisms. In frog, egg and the tadpole stage, mosquito, larva, butterfly, eggs is the most one, but caterpillar also can be taken. Eggs is for the fish, and once again for turtles, eggs and the young turtle. Next one. Write 2 methods to control pests. 2 methods to control pests. Okay. We have to write down 2 methods to control pests. So there are 2 methods actually, my dear children. First method, right? First method is to apply chemicals or apply chemical pesticides. Okay. So applying chemical pesticides is the first one. Then the second one is we can apply eco-friendly pesticides. Okay. We can apply eco-friendly or organic pesticides. Okay, applying chemical pesticides and applying organic pesticides. Right? So we can write number 1, applying organic. Right? Applying organic pesticides. Right? Applying organic pesticides. Then number 2, chemical. Applying chemical pesticides. Right? Applying chemical pesticides. Right. Then the next one. Why it is important to use biopesticides? Write 2 reasons. Biopesticides means biological pesticides. Right? Biopesticides. So like when you take guppy fish eating mosquito larva. Okay? Guppy fish eating mosquito larva. So mosquito larva is a pest. So that pest can be controlled by the guppy fish. Okay. So that is an instance where we use this biological pest control. Okay. Biological pest control. So like that way there are several instances. Okay. However, that's only a simple example, my dear children, because you know that pest is an organism who is going to damage the plants mainly. Okay. Mosquito larva is not going to damage the plants, no. Just for an example, I took it. Okay. Actually, pest is an organism who is going to harm the plantation or the crops. Right. So I just took it as an example. Like here we are using one organism to control another organism. Okay. That's why those things are called as biopesticides. So the importance of using biopesticide is, here my dear children, favorable organisms are not getting destroyed. Favorable organisms, right? Useful organisms are not getting destroyed. That is one factor. Okay. Useful organisms. Useful organisms are not destroyed. useful organisms are not destroyed. That is number 1. Then I told you that using these organisms are very much cost effective. Pretty much cost effective. Then the second one would be cost effective. Right? Cost effective. So useful organisms are not getting destroyed. That's the one. That's the first and foremost thing. And the second one is using these biopesticides will save you a lot of money. So it is cost effective. Okay. Then the next question. Write 3 disadvantages of using chemical pesticides. 3 disadvantages of using chemical pesticides. Right? So we came across with this kind of a question when we are discussing textbook questions, right? So number 1, my dear children, upon applying chemical pesticides, useful organisms will die. Number 2, causing diseases like cancers, right? Causing diseases like cancers, kidney diseases. Then number 3, damages to biodiversity. It damages the biodiversity. Why is that? Because when the favorable organisms and all the other things are getting killed, definitely it's going to hurt, or definitely it's going to imbalance the ecological balance. So therefore it harms the biodiversity. So useful organisms will die, and causing diseases like cancers and kidney diseases, then it damages to biodiversity. Next one, write 3 eco-friendly pesticides. 3 eco-friendly pesticides, my dear children. When we are discussing about that assignment, we got a knowledge about eco-friendly pesticides. So we can write a solution of ash. Then citrus plant solutions, right? Citrus plant extracts or solutions. Citrus plant extracts or solutions. Extracts means we can take the juices, okay? Extracts. Then margosa leaf juice. Margosa leaf juice. Right? Margosa leaf juice. So these are several eco-friendly pesticides that we can create within our home, my dear children. In each of these cases, we are using simpler compounds, simpler things that we can find in our normal day-to-day life. Okay? Right. So the next question. Write the pathogen of given diseases. So you have to write down the pathogen of given diseases, my dear children. Right? Pathogen. You have to write down the pathogen of given diseases. Number 1, diarrhea. Diarrhea is mainly created because of a protozoa. protozoa. Dengue is because of virus. Amoebiasis, once again it's been created because of protozoa. Amoebiasis is kind of a disease which is created within our stomach and intestinal area. Main symptom is similar to symptoms like dysentery and the diarrhea. Okay. Tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is created because of a bacteria. Skin diseases. You know that skin diseases are mainly created because of fungi. So these are the pathogens of diseases given. Diarrhea because of protozoa, dengue by virus, amoebiasis by protozoa, tuberculosis by bacteria, and skin diseases by action of a fungus. Right, my dear children. Then let's move on with the next question. So the next type of question is we have to explain these things scientifically. Life cycles can be used to control pests. Of course, we can use the life cycles to control pests. Why is that? Because by studying life cycles, we can study the sensitive stage of an organism. So by that way, we can control the sensitive stage. If you can control the sensitive stage, means that definitely you can control the pest. So by studying life cycle, we can control the pests. So we can write the answer by, we can write directly in simple terms. It helps to identify the sensitive stage of an organism right? It helps to identify the sensitive stage of an organism, which helps in controlling pests. Right? So it helps to identify the sensitive stage of an organism, which is going to help in controlling pests. Next one. There are no significant changes in life stages of a human. So there are no significant changes in life stages of human. Of course. But why is that? Because, my dear children, human is not undergoing through metamorphosis. Human is not an animal that undergoes in metamorphosis. Therefore, the life stages of human is identical from one to another. Right? So, we can write the answer. Human do not show metamorphosis. Right? Human do not show metamorphosis. Right? Human do not show metamorphosis. Therefore, there are no any significant there are no any significant changes right. Human do not show metamorphosis. Therefore, there are no any significant changes in life stages of a human. So this is the main reason that that the human has same similar stages of life cycle, my dear children, because human do not show metamorphosis. Therefore, there are no any significant changes in life stages of a human. If an organism is going to show the metamorphosis process, then we can observe those significant changes. However, human is not an organism that shows significant changes because it is not going through metamorphosis. Right then, question number 3. Sensitive stage of a frog is egg. Sensitive stage is eggs. Yes. Why is that? Because the stage egg is more vulnerable, or it is the stage of the life that is mostly threatened by external factors, okay, of the environment. That is why it is called as the sensitive stage. So in a frog, right, egg is the most threatened stage because eggs of a frog can easily be destroyed, right? Eggs of a frog can easily be destroyed. That's why, right, that's why the sensitive stage of stage of a frog becomes the egg. These eggs can be very easily destroyed. You just need to remove it to a dry place. That's it. Okay. Or else by using a like if water is flowing from one place to another, then we can just wash it away. The eggs will be destroyed. So eggs are the most vulnerable, most threatened stage of the life in a frog. So we can write the answer: because eggs can be easily destroyed. Right? Because eggs can be easily destroyed in a frog, or of a frog. Right? Eggs of a frog can be easily destroyed. That's why it is called as the sensitive stage, my dear children. Next one. Butterfly has significant changes in its life cycle. Of course, butterfly has significant changes because butterfly undergoes in complete metamorphosis, or metamorphosis in simple. So we can write the answer: butterfly undergoes in metamorphosis. Right? Butterfly undergoes in metamorphosis. Therefore, it has significant changes significant changes in the life cycle. Right. So butterfly undergoes in metamorphosis, therefore it has significant changes in the stages of life cycle. So that's why, my dear children, significant changes can be observed within the butterfly because it undergoes in metamorphosis. Okay. Right. Using chemical fertilizer is not good for agriculture. So using chemical fertilizer is not good for agriculture, of course. Why is that? Because there are several benefits and as well as there are several disadvantages. Actually, disadvantages are even more, or harms are even more than the advantages. That's why using chemicals are not good for the agriculture. So we can write the answer. Using chemicals harms the environment using chemicals harms the environment. Can say like, let's express somewhat even more. So using chemicals destroys favorable or useful environmental factors. Example, soil organisms. Right? Soil organisms. So using chemicals destroys useful environmental factors. Right? We can say upon using chemicals, it destroys useful environmental factors. Examples, soil organisms. So soil organisms are going to destroy, then the like agriculture is not getting successful because the soil is not getting fertilized. So therefore favorable conditions are pretty much important, like soil organisms, for a good agricultural process. However, by using agrochemicals, we won't be able to get such process because favorable animals are also getting destroyed. Right then, destroying any organism 100% is not good for the biosphere. So here it is given, destroying any organism 100% is not good for the biosphere. Of course it is correct, right? Of course it is correct. It's because that it's going to threaten the biodiversity. If 100% of the organism is getting destroyed, whole species is going to eradicate from our earth. So it is going to affect the biodiversity of the earth. So therefore it is not good. So we can write, it affects the biodiversity. Right? It affects the biodiversity in our biosphere. Right? Because will include because. Right? Because it affects the biodiversity. Right. So because it affects the biodiversity in our biosphere. Right, my dear children. So this is the answer for the 6th question. Then the next one. It is very important to wash the fruits and vegetables well before consuming. So my dear children, when chemical substances are being used for the agriculture, right, those substances are not getting away or not getting faded for a long time period. So therefore, it's important to wash these vegetables and fruits before consuming in order to wash out chemicals well. Okay, so we can write the answer to wash out chemical substances. Right? To wash out chemical substances, it's important to wash these very well. Before consumption. Right? Before consumption. So to wash out chemicals, to wash out chemical substances, it's important to wash these very well before the consumption. Right? Okay. So this is our explanation. As there are chemical substances, we have to wash them very well. Okay. There are only 3 stages of life cycle of a cockroach, but 4 in frog. So there are 3 stages in cockroach, but there are 4 in frog. So actually there are not 4, several stages can be observed. You know that tadpole is going to have dramatical changes within their life cycle in order to convert into a frog. We studied that thing. However, it's been mentioned as 4 stages. Okay, right? So you know that frog is an organism who is going to carry or who is going to undergo in complete metamorphosis. Actually, if you take the life cycle of a frog, there is no 4 stages, but there are several stages. When converting a tadpole into a frog, we can observe several stages of life cycles, right? Several stages of life cycles. We discussed that thing earlier when we are discussing about the lesson part. However, we consider it as only 4. Okay, not 4, actually it is 3. Up to our knowledge, it's enough to know about 3. What are the 3 stages? Tadpole, eggs, and the adult frog. But however, these things are going in 4 different stages. You will be knowing these things later with the lesson part. Okay, not with these, not in these grades, but however, when you go to advanced grades, you will get to know. Okay, there are several stages, not only 4, but however, we define that thing as mainly 4. Okay, right then. So, it's because, my dear children, these 4 stages can be observed because, okay, because the frog is carrying complete metamorphosis, but however, cockroach is going to have only, or cockroach is carrying only incomplete metamorphosis. So therefore, cockroach has only 3, but frog has more than 4 actually, but however more than 4. But up to your level, up to our level, we are discussing only 3. We are discussing only 3. Remember that. Up to our level, we are discussing only 3 stages. That's it. Okay. Other stages are discussed in your later grades, my dear children. Up to our knowledge, we are discussing only 3 stages: eggs, tadpole, and the adult. But however, there are several stages. Remember that. Right. So we can write the answer for this question like this: because cockroach is showing incomplete metamorphosis while the frog is showing complete metamorphosis. So we can write cockroach shows incomplete metamorphosis but cockroach shows incomplete metamorphosis, but frog shows complete metamorphosis. Right? Remember, my dear children, even though it is mentioned as 4 in here, as in a frog, we, up to our knowledge, I mean up to grade 8, we are discussing only 3 stages. Okay. However, there are even more, but up to our level, we'll be studying only 3 stages. That's it: eggs, tadpole, and the adult frog. Okay, remember that thing. However, there are even more stages. Remember that thing. There are even more stages, but up to our level, up to our grade 8 knowledge, we'll be studying only 3. Okay, right. So cockroach shows incomplete metamorphosis, but frog shows complete metamorphosis. That's why there are several stages in a frog, but however only less stages in cockroach. Okay. Using biopesticides are advantageous, of course, because it's not going to kill or destroy favorable organisms. They are cost effective, right? And also, we can say that these things are very much easy to use. Okay, so we can write the answer. Cost effective, easy to use, cost effective, comma, easy use, comma, then we can write cost effective, easy use, environment friendly. Therefore, biopesticides are advantageous, right? Therefore, biopesticides are advantageous. So because of cost effectiveness, easy use and environmental friendliness, right, these biopesticides are advantageous. It is easy to destroy mosquito by cleaning water accumulating places. So my dear children, by cleaning water accumulating places, we are going to destroy mosquito breeding places. So by destroying mosquito breeding places, we can destroy the mosquito population, right? So we can write, it destroys mosquito breeding places. Therefore, mosquitoes are also destroyed. So it destroys mosquito breeding places, therefore mosquitoes are also destroyed. That's why, my dear children, right, we can use this we can destroy these water accumulating places in order to control mosquitoes. Okay, right, then we'll move on to the next question. So next question is tables. So you have to complete the tables given. So here we have to mainly write down differences between the tadpole and the frog. The respiratory organ. Tadpole, you know that tadpole is going to respire by gills. However, frog by lungs. Mode of locomotion. For tadpole, it's swimming. For a frog, swimming and hopping. Right? Swimming and hopping both can be observed. Right? Type of food. For tadpole, aquatic plants. Right? Aquatic plants. But for a frog, insects. Next one, habitat. For a tadpole, definitely it's water. But for a frog, water and also land. As the frog can live in both watery places and in land. Okay. Other facts. Tadpole. So we'll write down a special fact for a tadpole. So my dear children, mainly if you take a tadpole is going to, if you take the mode of locomotion, it's swimming, type of food, aquatic plant, habitat, it's water, and respiratory organ, gills. So we can write another special feature of a tadpole. Tadpole is a herbivore animal, right? So herbivore animal, right? But however, frog, they can even eat insects, and also they can even eat aquatic plants as well. Okay. But however, if within your textbook, especially the frog is mentioned as an insectivorous organism, right? So we'll mention that thing, insectivorous. Insectivorous, right? Insectivorous. So these are the differences between the tadpole and the frog, my dear children. Okay, right? So here, other facts: herbivore animal and frog is insectivorous. Insectivorous. I is missing, right? So you have to mention this thing. Insectivorous. Okay, insectivorous. Insectivorous means this organism is going to feed on insects. But however, tadpole, it's a herbivore animal. Okay, right. Then these are the features between tadpole and a frog. Then the next one, butterfly and caterpillar is the one which is given. So habitat, butterfly, there is no certain habitat, but we'll mention that thing as, we'll mention that thing special habitat as terrestrial. Okay, terrestrial. Caterpillar also, right, most of the times caterpillar also a terrestrial animal, but habitat we can mention especially as plant leaf or plants, right? Mainly they are living on plants, that's it. Okay, mainly they are living on plants, that's it. Then the next one, mode of locomotion. Mode of locomotion for a butterfly, flying. But for a caterpillar, right, crawling is much better. Then type of food for a butterfly, nectar. Nectar. For a caterpillar, right, for caterpillar, tender plants, tender leaves, right, tender leaves. Then other facts, if you take butterfly, my dear children, butterfly has a proboscis, but caterpillar has a mouth to eat plants. Okay, I'll mention just one special fact. So butterfly has a proboscis. Caterpillar, it has a mouth. Right? For other facts, can mention this. Right? So these are the differences between butterfly and the caterpillar. Write differences between cockroach and the nymph. So you have to write down differences between cockroach and the nymph. So cockroach, if you take cockroach, mode of locomotion is flying. Flying, comma, then we can say crawling is much better. But for a nymph, it's crawling only. Only crawl. Then cockroach has wings. but nymph do not have wings. Right? It has wings, but nymph, they do not have wings. Then the next one, okay? If you take cockroach, my dear children, right? Cockroach is sexually matured. Right? Sexually matured. But however, nymph is not sexually matured. Right? Not sexually matured. So these are the main differences that we can observe between the nymph and the cockroach. Right then, complete the given tables. So you have to write the features at least 3. So eggs of butterfly. If you take the eggs of butterfly, these are like inactive, right? Can mention inactive. Then sticks to leaves. Right? Then observed below surface or below the blade of leaf. Below the blade of the leaf we can observe, right? Not at the top of the blade, but the below the blade we can observe, right? But these eggs of the butterfly, okay? Then the larva called as caterpillar has hairs with hair with poison. Herbivore. Okay, herbivore. Then the pupa, inactive. Right, inactive. Creates a cocoon. Creates a cocoon. Then does not feed. Right? Does not feed. Then finally the adult. Feed on nectar. Feed on nectar. Right? Then has a proboscis. right? So these are the special features of the butterfly, right? Then we'll move on to the next question. So here, once again, you are given with the table, a different table. So here you need to complete the table by using the effectivity of crops according to the given pests in here. So we'll complete the table then. So fruit fly, crops affected mango, then papaw, right? Mostly affected place is the fruit. Stage of life is the larva. Then the coconut red weevil. You know, coconut is the plant which is affected. And mostly affected place is coconut stem and leaves. Then the stage is larva. Larva stage is the one. Right, my dear children? Then the next organism, paddy bug. So you know that the paddy bug is going to harm paddy plant, right? Paddy plant. Okay. Then mostly affected place is stem and leaves, right? Stem and leaves. In the above one, coconut red weevil, my dear children, here fruit is also correct. I'll mention the fruit as well, right? Then the stage is nymph and adult both. Nymph and adult both. Okay, right. Then the next organism, mealybug. So mango and chilies, right? So there are other several plants, but however I mentioned these two. Okay. Then the next one, mainly the fruit and leaves. Here it is the adult. Right. So these are the pests that going to harm the crops of given in the table, my dear children. So let's head on to observe the next question. Right. Within this you have to put a tick if the statement is correct and cross if the given statements are wrong. Number 1. Rat shows incomplete metamorphosis. Rat shows incomplete metamorphosis. Actually, rat is not going to show any kind of a metamorphosis. So, therefore, it is incorrect. Next one. Sensitive stage of mosquito is eggs. Sensitive stage of mosquito is eggs. I told you that mosquitoes, their eggs are pretty much strong. Even for weeks and months, these eggs might stay as inactive things. But however, when the favorable conditions would come, they will become active. So, my dear children, eggs are, if you take eggs of a mosquito, those things are pretty much strong. However, if you take the larva stage, larva will not be able to survive without water. So, larval stage is the sensitive stage of mosquito, not the eggs. So, it is incorrect. Number 3. Tadpole uses gills for respiration. That is correct. Tadpole uses gills for respiration. That is correct. There are 4 stages in complete metamorphosis. Once again correct. There are 4 stages in complete metamorphosis. Right? Amphibians show complete metamorphosis. That is also correct. I told you that most of the amphibians, they show complete metamorphosis. Frog is a good example. Plants do not have a life cycle. Incorrect. Totally incorrect. Plants, they also have a life cycle. Incorrect. Cricket shows complete metamorphosis. Incorrect. Cricket is an insect who undergoes incomplete metamorphosis, not complete metamorphosis. Best method to control pest is to use chemical pesticides. Totally incorrect. Chemical pesticides are not even, right, not even wise to use for our environment. Next one. Animal that carries and transmits pathogens is a vector. Animal that carries and transmits pathogens is a vector. That is correct. Pathogenic microorganisms or pathogens is carried out by a vector. So it is correct. Next one. A species may extinct totally if the sensitive stage is destroyed. Absolutely correct. We discussed this thing. If the sensitive stage is destroyed, then there is a chance of 100% killing that particular species of animal. So it is correct. Next one. Mosquito is a disease vector insect. Correct. Mosquito carries different kinds of diseases. Actually not diseases, disease carrying pathogens. So therefore it is a disease vector. Correct. Next one. Bachiri is a pest plant that destroys rice crop. That is also correct. Right? Bachiri is also a type of a pest plant that destroys the rice crops. So that is correct. So these are the answers for the question, my dear children. After that question, my dear children, we have finished all the questions related to the lesson life cycles of organisms. So we answered several questions in different forms, right? So my dear children, I hope that you got a good knowledge about the lesson life cycles of organisms. So I'm going to finish up with the lesson right now, and we'll be meeting with a new lesson, right? The 13th lesson in your science syllabus, right? So till then, it's time to say goodbye.